Hi there. Today I'm going to do a short music definition, a music theory word, and it comes from the New Grove Dictionary of Music and Musicians. I've done quite a few of these already. I'm still in volume 1. If you'd like to see a video about how I got this collection of dictionaries for very cheap, you can take a look at this video. And the word for today is arpeggio. Arpeggio. This is a quite common music word, and here's the first paragraph in the definition as we read it in this dictionary. An arpeggio is the sounding of the notes of a chord in succession rather than simultaneously. Also, especially in keyboard music or guitar music, I would add, the breaking or spreading of a chord. So if you speak Italian, which I don't, but if you do, it appears that in Italian arpeggio means something like playing the harp. So that's a pretty accurate explanation of the word right there. If you imagine a harp player, he or she would pluck the strings, but most of the time they would pluck them in succession, one finger at a time. So to give you a very basic example on the guitar, which this instrument is very arpeggio friendly, and I'm going to take a C chord, a C major chord, and I'm going to play the 4 notes in it, C, E, G, C. I'm going to play them blocked at the same time. If I were to write that out on paper, it would look like this. And again, it sounds like this. Now if I take those same 4 notes and play them in succession, one note at a time, from bottom to top, from top to bottom, or to the top and back to the bottom, it would look, on paper, it would look like this. And it would sound like this. Or down, or up and down. So we went from a blocked chord to an arpeggio. The musicians would often refer to this as a broken chord. That's more of a slang term for it, a broken chord. It's a blocked chord, broken chord, but the official term for it is arpeggio. So that's what you have. So if you take a succession of chords, say in the key of C, let's say that we take a C chord and a D minor chord and a G7 chord and then a C chord. Okay, so I play those 4 chords again. Okay, so those were blocked. Okay. Now if I play those chords as an arpeggio, as arpeggios, then it would sound something like this. Okay. And if I play the arpeggio ascending and descending, then you fill up more of the time like this. Now, not long ago, I played a Bach piece on the piano, his first prelude in C major, and the opening measures of that is actually a very good example of arpeggio playing like this. So I'll try to play that on my guitar here, even though it's a piano piece. But the opening measures sounded something like this. If you want to see the full video of that piece, of me playing it on the piano, I'll place a link here and you can take a look at that. So anyways, that's a great example of how a composer can use that as a compositional technique. And sometimes, I need to say here that sometimes the composer would write out the arpeggios like Bach did. And let me show you, by the way, the first few measures of what I just played of that piano piece. In a piano score, it would look something like this. So you can see that Bach actually wrote out the arpeggios, but sometimes the composer would choose not to write out the arpeggio, but he or she would write out a blocked chord and just tell you to play it as an arpeggio, and sometimes that might look something like this. So that's a basic definition of what an arpeggio is. Now, to give you another example, now if you play with a pick, this can work just as fine. It's just much easier with the fingers, obviously. But if you play with a pick, if you take this C chord, and of course you can't block with a pick. With the pick you're gonna strum. I don't have a pick here, but I'm using my index finger as a pick. So if I had a pick, you can just strum it, and it sounds almost blocked. But then you could also pick, pluck one string at a time. Combination you want to play. Okay, so that's possible. It's just much easier with the fingers on the guitar. To give you another example, in the key of D, for instance, we can take a few chords in that key. Here's a D chord, A, B minor, F sharp minor, G, D, G, A. And I got new strings, so it's still stretching. So I'm playing the chords in different ways to get what's called good voice leading, and maybe in a different video I can explain what voice leading is. But I'm playing a D here, A, B minor, F sharp minor. I'm playing a G here. Okay, and I'm playing a D here, just so that the chords move smoothly. So if I were to arpeggiate those chords, they would sound something like this. Did that sound familiar? It probably did, because it's borrowed from Pachelbel's Canon, that wedding song when the bridal party walks in. So it's the chord progression is borrowed from there. You have this. Of course, what's missing is the melody at the top. If there was a second guitarist here, I could put the two together. I don't need a second guitarist. It just would sound much better with two guitars. It would sound something like this when you put the two things together. So that's a pretty good example of arpeggiation, except that I don't have enough strings to play the melody and the arpeggios. So I'm kind of combining the two into one part. So the bass part, the bottom part, is a little bit different than your typical arpeggio, just because of the nature of the instrument, but I think you get the idea. Anyways, that's my, I hope, short video on the word arpeggio. And if you have any questions or comments, or if you have suggestions for future music theory words, please let me know in the comments section. As always, thank you for watching my videos, and see you next time. Bye.